Heroes rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait. Captain choice will seal your fate. Two enthusiasts breaking it down. Fantasy kings, we're taking the crown.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Tinker Time, an FPL pod, the show for every fantasy Premier League manager who's already second-guessing their latest draft. It's Thursday, May 7th, 2026, and whether you're finally locked into your Gameweek 36 draft or just here to scout some differentials, you've come to the right place. I'm Matt, alongside Jim, and we're here to help you tweak, test, and yes, tinker your way to the top of your mini-league. We'll break down the best value picks, picture trends, and hidden gems. You don't have to stare at your squad screen in despair. So let's pop the hood, crack open the spreadsheet, and get tinkering. Jim, I'm just going to say it. How the hell are you?
Hold my own. It's good to be back on the digits here with you. It's been 2
Holding
weeks.
your own what?
I'm holding my own. I'm holding my own computer.
Oh, your own computer. Okay.
Yeah.
I've never really stopped to think about what that expression means.
I think instead of you holding I think it goes back to holding your horses.
Holding your...
You know that expression, oh, hold your horses.
Oh,
But this,
hold your horses.
I'm holding my own horses. You don't need to tell me to hold my horses.
Are you referring to your appendage as a horse? That's kind of what it seems like.
You could lead a horse to water, but you got to make them drink it too.
You got to make them drink it. Man, I had a hard time reading that intro. Seeing Gameweek 36. I mean, we are
Wild.
so close to the end of the season here, but there's so much that is still going to happen, whether we like it or not.
It's almost like it's week 1 again. Not even close, but still.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room. First off, hand up. We did not have an episode last week because my son had the poops. I'm just going to say it.
And I was tired.
Jim was also tired. That was the main reason.
Can't blame it all on your son.
Well, he actually, if I remember correctly, I think he slept pretty soundly. It was the following days that were pretty tough. So I needed that sleep. It worked out. But, hey, we're enthusiasts, not experts. We're not perfect. We're consistent. We're consistent. So, I mean, we're not going to spend a ton of time, I guess. Well, I shouldn't say that. We're going to spend some time today talking Game Week 35 recap. We're going to talk Game Week 36 deadline, which means you guessed it. It's a we got to record that sound bit. We should have been using that all along.
I think you just did. This is all being recorded.
That's true. Before we get into 36, let's talk about 35. I mean,
Best game week we've had in 6 months.
I think I said it to you. Excuse yourself.
That was my chair.
Okay. Now your chair has gas. Okay. I think I texted you. That was probably the best half that we have seen Spurs play all season against Villa. They earned that win, regardless of who Villa ran out there. Spurs took it to them.
It was the Spurs of old, just pressing without losing the ball constantly, holding it up on the sides there. And it was just incredible. Conor Gallagher.
What's your take on
Premier League record for this season for distance traveled?
Did he really?
He did.
Does Villa have like a longer pitch?
I don't think so. I think he was just really excited.
Well, he did. We'll get into in the individual game recap, but I mean, if the season ended today, Spurs would still be getting that Premier League TV money.
Sitting pretty at 17. Love it.
38. I'm like, hey, what's up below? No, in all honesty, what was your take on Villa's lineup? I mean, did you feel like they were clearly punting?
No. I mean, let me pull it up because it's been a few days, but they started Martinez. Like, obviously, he would be number one to bench. I mean, their back line is Cash, Lindelof, Mings, and Maatsen. So, like, their whole defense is who they've been playing. Just because they sat Watkins and started Barkley. I guess they started Sancho, too. I think people just don't like Sancho.
People don't like Sancho. I think there was a lot of... So, Villa's in this very weird predicament where, and I've tried to understand it, and like usually during the game week, when the games are being played, I understand it. And then we wait 3-4 days before we record, and then I totally forget. But I think essentially what it boils down to, right? So if you look at the table position right now, Villa is sitting in 5th place, sole possession of 5th place, all but kind of locked up 5th place. where it gets complicated, and the Premier League's getting 5 teams in, England's getting 5 teams in to the Champions League next season. So where it gets complicated is if Villa win Europa, which they did advance today,
Huge
or
win
was it
today.
yesterday? Today, huge win. It was today, which that was a whole nother conversation, right? Because it's like on Forest's side, the team they started against Chelsea, but they thrashed them. So whatever, we'll talk about that too. But if Villa win Europa, then they automatically qualify for Champions League because they are the winners of the Europa League. But if they finish in 5th place in the Prem, that means the 6th place team, I believe, will get added to the pool of Premier League teams that make it to the Champions League. So England would get 6 teams in the Champions League next season if Villa win. If Villa finish 4th, then the 5th place team, if they finish in 4th place in the table, I don't believe that 6th place team gets bumped up. That's what I've been hearing, reading, seeing, having a hard time understanding.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah. It's confusing. We could probably
Yeah.
pretty quickly suss this out if we really spent like 5 minutes prepping
Yeah,
before we
but
got on
this
the
is good.
well, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. I just
And I'm
think it's
destroyed.
interesting. Well, it's only reason interesting because Villa had, if you look at their fixtures moving forward, they have Burnley in game week 36. So that's coming up this weekend. Now, obviously, they just advanced in Europa, but there were some, there's some folks who were maybe thinking about a wild card in 35 in preparation for game week 36. Maybe you brought some Villa players in, but then in 37 and 38, Villa are playing Liverpool, who are their table mates, who they're jockeying for position with, and City, who basically need to win out because they drop points this week. And that's the next thing I want to talk about is
I don't
City
think
dropping
you
points.
haven't said any point at all yet. So I don't know what
I'm saying that
is your point
Villa
about Villa?
players, Villa's fixtures for 36 point to target Villa, but because of their European situation and who they are playing in 37 and 38, their games still matter.
They don't,
Why wouldn't they matter?
because they need to win. They're going to win against Burnley, and then they're going to be qualified.
If they haven't won Europa yet.
Yeah, but if they win at Burnley, they have 61 points.
Okay, so it's not over yet. What I'm trying to get to, and I'll admit, I went a little around the
You
bout.
asked me what I thought of the Villa lineup on Sunday, and this is where
That's
we
where
are.
it started. Well, yeah, because
Didn't
are
say
you
anything
targeting
about
any
what I
player?
said about the lineup.
Are you targeting any players? Would you target? So
No,
you're
no,
why not for Burnley?
no, because I don't want any Villa players against City and Liverpool when the games are going to be meaningless.
Well, I don't know. I
If
mean,
they
we're at that trick.
if they win this week, there's no reason for them. It's meaningless.
Yeah, it's tough because I think.
I'm not targeting Villa players. Sounds like you are.
Well, I don't have any. I think all I have right now is my bench boost and my triple captain. So I don't have the ability to just bring a group of players in, but I do have a free transfer I can make. I don't know. I mean, it's so late in the season
If
that
all this is going that you're not even going to bring in a Villa player, I'm going to be pretty upset.
no, no,
This
no.
was 3
I am
minutes of
contemplating.
nonsense.
I'm contemplating it because
Who?
I
Give me
think
a name.
your favorite Matty Cash.
And
Because I feel like they're differential now. I feel like a Villa player on this week somehow, even though they're playing Burnley, because of who they're playing in the last 2 games and because of their European situation, people are avoiding them. You're avoiding them.
yes, just because it's
I'm trying to make up
just
ground
because
on
it's
you.
a differential doesn't mean it's a good pick.
Well, I mean, it's a more fun pick.
Yeah, maybe.
What do you want to say about City? Anything?
Disappointing match there, but they did fight back. So we'll see how much that plays into the storyline with Arsenal now that they're 5 points ahead.
I think it's 5 with a game in hand.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
not great for everybody else that's Arsenal hater, but from an FPL perspective, happy with the performance. Obviously, letting in 3 is not good for O'Reilly owners, but I brought in Turkey a couple weeks ago for the City run in here, and obviously Holland scored, so he was a captain favorite pick, and he delivered. So disappointing from a table perspective, but FPL wise, it wasn't that bad. Especially on the other side, I had KDH, so pretty good match for me.
Yeah, that Gahey pass. I mean, the moment it hit off his foot, he put his head up. He knew
Yeah.
he gave a goal away there. I'm sure we'll talk about some City players a little bit more in future segments. The only other thing, I mean, we kind of talked about Villa and their European competition. Arsenal are moving on. Just a brutal, brutal game to watch. Nothing exciting. There will be. I mean, I don't know. You seem to think at this point European competitions don't really have any impact on the players that you're picking for the last 2 or 3 weeks here.
So for Arsenal, no, because they're going to be starting their best regardless. For Villa, I think if they beat Burnley, so the final's on the 20th. So it would be before the final game week. So you would know prior to the final game week whether or not they're going to be playing for anything. But it's kind of a moot point because they're going up against City, who's also playing for something, presumably. So yeah, they could be playing for something and it could be a differential, but look who they're playing against. Do you really want that to be what you're putting the basket you're putting your eggs in? I wouldn't.
I hear you. I think there's also some reality that has to set into, right? Like at this point in the season, your table position, it could be pretty solidified. You might just be playing for pride at this point. Have some fun with it. What do you have to lose? If you're not first, you're last.
And speaking of last, you forgot to include them here. Palace, they're through a final as well.
My God, excuse me. Crystal Palace. I'm actually going to edit the note because I want to have that in there.
And I saw Iraola is going to Palace next year. Did you see that?
He's going to Palace?
That's what I just saw.
He's leaving Bournemouth to go to Palace.
Who knows if it's true? Everything's happening.
Bayern's job just opened up, I heard.
I saw that Alonso was going to go there, though.
I thought Zabi was already pegged for Chelsea. I thought that was signed.
I wouldn't be
Thomas
surprised if they
Frank's
brought
out
back
there.
Rossonnier.
I heard they're not paying him. They're not paying him, and he's suing them.
Really?
Who could have foreseen that? He's $6 million on the book still, or something. Whatever it was, 24 million, 76 months, whatever it was.
Anyway, should we talk 35 recaps of Player of the Week?
I think so.
Tie here. So Taiwi Iwaoni and Victor Gyökeres both.
Want to try that again?
Taiwi Iwaoni both with 16 points, 2 goals, assists, and 3 bonus points. I was kind of thrilled to see Gyökeres get those after I had picked him in our captain's draft. Obviously, it wasn't recorded last week, but we did text about that. So I cashed in on Gyökeres there. But Iwaoni, Awani.
Awani, Rangers. Yeah, I mean,
I feel like he was a cheap option last year that a lot of people had. And he had a couple spurts there, but he's been quiet this year.
Was it last year or 2 seasons ago now?
Might have been 2.
I think it was 2 because I think that was the year they signed.
Their first year up, right?
Was it their first year up? They had signed that ex-striker from Watford. I think his last name was like Dennis or something like that.
Wasn't they have Archer too?
No, Archer was that was a Southampton. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Better. But yeah, good for them. 16 points. A lot of both differential picks there.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Moving on to biggest flops. I mean, I think it's gotta be these two, and I'm interested if you got anyone else. Cole Palmer, quite literally, has been so quiet for the last few months. Fighting injuries, misses a penalty after basically that 16-year-old. Did we ever find out whatever happened to Katy Perry? Sorry, what's his name? Jackery Derry?
Oh yeah. I don't know. He does not have a soccer number, like 55.
50.
But yeah, missing
Hey,
the
Jack Derry, if you're listening, drop a comment. Tell us how to say your name and why you're 55.
was it Chelsea's like their goal differential is like minus 18 or something for the last 6 games or
It's bad. It's
They're
really bad. They went the entire month of April without scoring a goal.
their form is worse than Spurs. That's saying something. We won our first game of the calendar year.
Of the millennia. Yeah, I know.
So
It's,
yeah, really, really disappointed there.
yeah, but that's what happens when you can get some points early and bank them up. Nobody really cares. The Chelsea model, they have plenty of players. They just need a couple of them to hit. Cole's gone. I think Cole's going to be gone next season. I think his FPL avatar next season will have a different jersey. That's my bold prediction. My 300-point player, gone.
Gone. You think he's going to United?
I think so.
I don't know if they need him at this point. They've been looking good.
I think they need him. Moving on, I think we also have a couple of other players. So I'm gonna put João Pedro in there as well. Not that he was much of a flop, but he also I don't believe has scored. I don't believe he has scored. I think it was since the end of March. I think it's just as long as a drought. He scored his goal. I understand.
He scored a goal and got bonus points in a loss.
Yeah,
How are you saying?
fine.
I don't think
I'll
you
retract
know
it.
what a flop is.
I'll retract it. I'll retract it.
What
I
about
take it
somebody who
back.
didn't score that's very highly owned?
I also have Semenyo on there
Maybe
on
you
the
wrote
top
them on
list.
the list and then you didn't just go and pull a random name out.
I wrote it on the list. Semenyo just he's been useless the last few weeks. Cannot recapture his
Yeah.
beginning of the season form, and then he got that boost when he came over to City.
To be fair,
Just
he
bad timing.
was just on fire, though. His consistency was unbelievable. So he had to cool off at some point.
Yeah, I guess maybe he's not on this list as best player. I mean, he's got to be included in. Yeah, we'll talk about him in the team of the week.
The only other one I
Any
would
other flops?
the only other one I would throw in just similar there, just because he's been so consistent, is Bowen. Game when they really
Mm,
needed the points. They played before Spurs. They got spanked 3-0. Bowen didn't deliver. He's been
that was a
there.
good paddle.
Yeah. I mean, everything's been going through him, and he's been delivering, but, yeah, when he's cold, no loss.
What are you gonna do? Shit happens. All right. So just kind of recapping the scores from the week. So our Friday fixture, we had Leeds hosting Burnley. Leeds pulled that one out 3-1 with a quintessential. I think was the text I sent you. Quintessential goal from DCL, basically from right in front of the fucking goal. Just brutal.
Yeah. I think I texted you right before this game, and I said, it's not out of the question to say Leeds are out of the relegation fight, because if they lose and we win, we're only, a few points behind, and then
I mean, mathematically,
8
yeah.
minutes in, they scored, and then that was it.
That was a yeah, I was happy there. I decided to start Anton Stock, who I feel like a lot of managers probably had sold because of his
Him was
injury, but
injured for a while.
I held him. Nice little 10-point haul, little differential there. So that was nice. I will also selfishly say I was happy that Burnley put one past. So I know a lot of folks still have, at least one Leeds offender. Some folks may have had two. So wiping out that clean sheet was big just to gain some ground.
Yeah, I'm sure people brought in Justin after his big double game week there.
Huge. Anything else on this one?
Now Burnley's
Okay.
gone.
Moving on to Saturday, so we had 4 games on the slate. So we had Brentford just absolutely bukakiing West Ham 3-0. Newcastle somehow winning a game for a change, 3-1 over Brighton. 1-1 draw in the worst game of the day, Wolves and Sunderland. And then those Gooners in red. They're dancing with me. 3-0. What do you got from Saturday's games?
Yeah, so I really ugly out of West Ham. So to be fair, they had an own goal and then a goal that was ruled offsides and then a penalty. So really tough start, and they didn't come back from that. But
Nuno masterclass.
yeah.
Oh boy.
As a Anthony Gordon owner, really disappointing that he's still injured. I couldn't get him out without taking a hit, so he was on my bench there. But the timeless wonder, Danny Welbeck, coming on again with an assist. So he's delivering still.
Can't be stopped.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not going to be long before we see some images or pictures emerge of Anthony Gordon in a Lederhausen. I think he's like pretty much bookmarked for Germany this season
Oh yeah.
or next season, I should say.
I know he was Chelsea linked before the season, but
Oh my God.
they'll need another lanky white man if Palmer leaves.
Don't they have one? I mean, I say that kind of facetiously, but there's probably a decent chance I'm not wrong.
Yeah. But then the obviously the big match of the day, Arsenal 3, Zaka back on the clean sheet, back on the score sheet, goal and assist. There was a lot of people saying that Richie had scored more goals than Saka this season, and he must have taken that
People
personally.
talking about people. Yeah, I don't know. From an FPL perspective, Saturday was kind of boring. I'll admit, like I had Kelleher, so I enjoyed the clean sheet there. I think I
Thank
said
you for
that to
admitting that.
you.
Thank you.
It is what it is.
Lead from the
Arsenal,
front.
I mean, yeah, it's just right off the rip. I think, side note, I think Eddie Howe's got to go. Nobody cares about Newcastle. Live Golf dissolved. Piff is dissolving. Newcastle are about, I think next season, Newcastle going down.
That's a bold one, but
When
yeah,
when the blood money dries up,
all this money is not. I don't know. Their
it's not
backline, I
working.
think, needs a complete overhaul there before they're gonna be taken seriously again.
Their back gets penetrated way too easily.
Moving on to Sunday, start off with Bournemouth 3-0 win over Palace. Again, an own goal and a penalty to start it off there. Junior Krupi, your guy. But I think Palace, this is an example of, like you said, Palace prioritizing Europe. They had a lead going into this week. They won again today, so I don't think they care that they got a shellac in there. But Senesi, man of the match, another what, 14-point haul?
Yeah.
13
And
points,
he's one of those players that I'm gonna interrupt for a moment. I
please.
have kind of refused to include him in my squad all season. Man, I regret that.
Yeah, I think you were kind of mad at me when I brought in him over Hill probably a month or two ago, and
Yeah,
that was the right
yeah.
move. Yeah. Another big derby, but big rivalry. United 3, Liverpool 2. United opened it up in the 6th and 14th minute with Acuna and Shesko goals, followed by Dominic Soboslai with a beauty in the 47th minute, and then a Cody Gakpo goal assisted by Soboslai to tie it up in the 56th. I forget which one of those was really ugly. I think it was the second one, right? The Gakpo goal.
The Gakpo goal was really bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
just a
You
bad
know,
pass
just
out of the back.
just coughed it up similar to the Gahey pass. And Szoboszlai just tapped it over to Gakpo for a tap in. But Devils can't die. Robbie Maino, all the above, scoring in the 7th minute. An incredible comeback performance. I guess not comeback, but
Oh, Kim Kardashian, she had a comeback. Hey, she had that video where she had the the cum on her back. You've seen that out clip.
I have. Give her a break. She's trying to
Okay.
pass the bar.
No, she's taking a break now. She literally is taking a break.
Break me up a piece
And
of.
find out next season on Keeping Up with the Kardashians. All right, moving on.
So yeah,
Uh,
good performance out of United. They continue to be pretty consistent there. Bruno gets another assist, and yeah, I guess to mention it, 2 weeks ago I was hot on Salah. Brought him in. He came off injured pretty early on in that match. What's so funny?
Salah was making you hot and bothered.
That's
Okay.
that's not what I said.
Walk like an Egyptian.
So they're without Salah for the run in, but they have Isak, the $140 million man who has not really scored. So we'll see how they do. I think they're kind of similar position to Villa. If they win one more, then they probably can coast. Who do they have for the run in now? Tra-la-la.
Little technical glitch there. I think we're still going though.
You're in the space twice now. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. I got to lose a few pounds.
More the
Okay.
merrier. There you go.
Where the hell are we? I forgot where we were.
We're at the big one.
Uh,
Villa 1, Tottenham 2. Like you said, our best first half of the season. Gallagher opens up the scoring in the 12th minute. And then Richie with a nice header in after a tail ball in the 25th. We were cruising. We were Ted cruising. I shut it off in the 90th +4. And then obviously Villa get one back after that by none other than Matty Cash and Emiliano Buendia. But this is
yeah,
the performance we needed across the board.
not the performance we wanted, but the one we needed, the one we deserved. A couple things on this one. FPL perspective, I don't know who has any Spurs assets at this point, so there's not really any implications there.
Didn't you bring in Richie?
I did a few weeks ago. Uh, well, it was more than a few weeks ago. It was basically when Tudor came in. So I thought, we're getting ready for this relegation run in. Richie loves a relegation battle.
Loves the
Maybe there'll be a little pop. Nothing. I just want to say it is absolutely crazy that like Deserby has essentially inherited even less of the team because we've had injuries since he came in.
yeah.
And like to see these players perform the way they did, whatever your stance is on the team that Villa ran out there, like they're still a Premier League club, right? Those are Premier League players. And it was night and day. Like we haven't seen that level of activity, that level of energy, that level of movement in the opposition's box. I mean, it's crazy just what a manager can do to that group of guys in the locker room. But I just want to say that.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just the way that they were running. I mean, I said it about Gallagher, but everybody was just like was unbelievable. And I still disagree with the Villa lineup concerns. Like apart from Buendia who came on and Watkins who came on, like they've been starting Abraham here or in Europe
I
to
mean, do we need to talk about Villa again? Because we already spent 9 minutes.
yeah, but
We
we
can do
never
it
said
again.
anything during that 9 minutes. But you're right. Let's move on.
We don't say anything on the entire episode most of the time.
All right, Monday, the oddest Monday time slot of the season. Chelsea hosted Forest at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Like we said, Leone 2 goals. Igor Jesus with a penalty, but then João Pedro scraps one back in the 93rd minute. Nice overhead kick. He also had one ruled off for VAR. But yeah, 3-1 win. Robert Sanchez comes off injured. Palmer misses a penalty. The no-name Jesse Derry comes off with a pretty brutal head injury. So I know you were insulting him, but I obviously don't root for injuries, and I respect.
I didn't say I rooted for an injury. I will admit this game was right around the time that my son's stomach bug kind of made its way towards me. It ironically coincided very well with like right around when Forrest started off hot. Maybe it wasn't really a stomach bug. Maybe it was just me, my body reacting to
Nervous.
how disgusting and filthy Chelsea looked out there.
Did you go with
It's
the
hard to say.
Did you go with the no wipe method? You just went right in the tub too?
Uh, to be honest, I wiped. I spent a lot of Monday. I had like really bad stomach cramps. I watched the whole game in bed. I'll be honest. It's fine, whatever.
All right, moving on.
Yeah,
Everton 3, City 3. Those are a back and
we've
forth.
had 3 stomach bugs in 4 months. It's too many. That's too many.
Doku opened up the scoring with a jerky assist, followed
Uh,
by 3 in the row from Everton here. So Tiero Abari, Jake O'Brien, and Tiero Berry to go up 3-1 for Holland pulls one back, and then Doku at the end, assisted by Mark He made up for his mistake to tie it in the 97th minute. So yeah, disappointing for anybody who's not rooting for Arsenal that they dropped the points here, but
mm.
they still got one. That could be crucial come the run in here.
Yeah, I mean, so not talking FPL for a second, I'm going to anti-droid, which I guess is, what's the opposite of droid? Probably just
Human.
Apple human. It creates a predicament where, as a Spurs fan, I couldn't possibly root for West Ham to not beat Arsenal. But that actually creates risk for us then, because then if they win and we drop points, then we're back in the relegation zone. So um, tough kind of situation on the Arsenal side of things here with how the point spread is. But bringing it back to FPL now, because I know that's why we're here. I really loved seeing Holland put one in the back of the net. City have a very obvious triple captain opportunity for Holland this week, upcoming in 36.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to see him put one in the back of the net, maybe get a little momentum. Their backs are against the wall. There's vomit on his sweater already. His mom's spaghetti. He's nervous, but on the
They eat
surface,
spaghetti in
he
Norway?
looks calm and ready. I think they call it ramen.
Mm.
Oh, no. They call it, nope, not going to do this. So, yeah, good to see Holland.
I personally will be the biggest Arsenal fan this weekend. Up the Gunners.
Are you going to wear an Arsenal jersey over your Roberto De Zerbi outfit?
I am very much looking forward to the De Zerbi beard.
What do you think De Zerbi's like go-to cafe order is?
An espresso.
Just an espresso?
I'm not done. He gets an
Okay.
espresso, an Aperol spritz, 2 shots of
At the same
Zambuca,
time.
and a baguette. Because
See,
he's not just he's an international man.
yeah, he's cultured.
Yeah.
He loves a Francois. I was actually going to say, I think he gets an espresso. I think he actually takes the beans and just chews them, like actually eats them whole.
Mhm.
And I think he gets a little croissant. 'Cause he's
Oh.
French. Well, he's not really French, but he's cultured, like you said. I imagine Italian croissants are probably delicious.
Probably. Anything's better than biscotti.
Oh no, if you've had good biscotti, it's really good.
I actually don't mind bad biscotti. I think biscotti dipped in coffee is the worst thing. Why would you want to make it soggy and bitter? It's a cookie.
Why do people dunk their donuts? I mean,
I don't agree with that either. I think that's horrible. Just drink your coffee.
did you know Dunkin' Donuts is no longer Dunkin' Donuts? They're just Dunkin'.
It's just dunk it.
It's just Dunkin'.
Get dunked.
Gonna get dunked and dipped. So yeah, game week 35. Fun game week. Just looking at the team of the week. So overall, 137 points. We mentioned your boy Anouanyi, a 16-point haul. But rounding out the rest of the team, so we have Kelleher at the back, 8 points. Senesi with 14. Harry Potter with 11. And Mukiele with 11 points as well. Some nice hauls for defenders. Midfield 4, we have Doku, you mentioned, with a 15-point haul at the death.
Huge.
Szoboszlai with a 13-point haul, with his goal. Saka, you mentioned, scored 11 points. Damsgaard, Nakel 11 points for Brentford. And then out the front line with Awanyayan was Gyökeres with 16 points and Thiago Berry with 11. Very affordable team.
He's French. That's interesting.
Excuse me. Isn't it Thiago?
Oh, it's Thierry. Good for
That
him.
can't be right. He's French?
You don't believe me? You never
I
believe
thought
me.
he was from like Sudan.
This is why we don't have any listeners. That you cannot say that. Cut that. All right, let's talk our points.
Boy.
I
No,
will.
Sudan, like the
I'll start.
city
Okay, your
in
foot does just
Connecticut.
stop there.
Sudan, Connecticut. Okay.
So I had 51 points. Not a great week, and even worse week last week, but we're looking forward. So for Bergen in the back, 1 point, 2 points. Riley, Justin, Canvo, a total of 3 points out of those three. And then Senesi with 14 points in the back. Camo really difficult there. They let in 3, and then he got a yellow card. Nothing out of him. Midfield of Bruno, Cherky, and Dewsbury Hall. I misspoke. Dewsbury Hall blanked this week. It was last week that he scored. So 5, 5, and 2 there. And then Beto subbed off before the Everton goal started flowing. So only 1 point out to him. Welbeck with the assist. And then I captain Holland with 14 points. So 51 points total. Beat the average. Had 4 points on the bench. Probably could have been better to use. But yeah, really stuck with Gordon's injury and then Salah's injury last week that was trying to navigate. So tough. I'll have to see how he is this week.
Beto, the pride of Sudan. So moving on this week for my team, I scored 63 points. I made 3 transfers. So I brought in Krupi Jr., Thiago, and O'Reilly, and I moved out Richarlison, Taddy Castellanos, and Lewis Hall. Saying that out loud and then realizing that I didn't start Krupi, I had him on my bench. It's kind of crazy. I made a transfer that I didn't necessarily had to, but I honestly can't remember if I had to make the funds clear out. It's possible. It's possible. So anyway, 63 points, beat the average. I mentioned I had Kelleher on the back. Nico O'Reilly blanked. Virgil van Dijk blanked. Gabriel gave me a 6-point haul for the clean sheet, nothing more. Mr. Hill for Bournemouth gave me a 10-point haul. Clean sheet, bonus, DEFCON, beast. Excuse me. My God. It's allergy season here. Bruno Fernandes with 5 points. Semenyo blanked with 2. Anton Stock, I mentioned him, the 10-point haul. Palmer with a 0, like a pure blank because of his missed penalty. Thiago with 6 points. And Holland captaincy to give 14 points. So actually, I left Krupi Jr. on my bench, which was another 6 points. So could have been a better week. He's been hot. I probably should have just started him over. I don't know, though.
For
I mean,
Castellanos?
Palmer against Forrest. No, I moved Castellanos out. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Speaking of people that are not okay, so Lord Tink, still not a bad game week. He had 45 points, hasn't made a transfer in 3 months. I mean, he basically blanked on everyone. He got the captaincy right for Holland, so he had 14 points there. He had Shirky with a 5-point haul. He had Gabriel in the back with 6 points, and he also had Django Unchained with an assist and a clean sheet, so that was another 6 points. So overall, I mean, less is more.
Yeah, I don't know why he hasn't moved out Ekatike and Brentwaite, but
Yeah, I don't know.
They have
Maybe
computers.
he's an idiot. He's an idiot. Otherwise, in our captain's draft, did we talk about that? No, we didn't talk about that yet.
Yeah,
Did we? Not
I
yet?
mentioned that I
Captain's
picked
draft.
Gyökeres.
That's right. That's right. You brought him up. So yeah, Jim picked Gyökeres. So he was sitting at 108 before the game week, plus that 16. We're math pod. That's 124 points. He has overtaken me for the time being. I'm sitting at 119 points after my 6-point haul. I had chosen Thiago. So he had a goal with 6 points. So it's going to come down to the wire here. It's kind of fun.
It's getting hot. Getting hot in the
Getting-
oven. You can get it hot in
I
the
see it's
kitchen.
getting cheesy, dangerously cheesy.
Well, this episode is actually brought to you by the Calzone, pizza's sophisticated, mysterious cousin. The golden brown, crescent-shaped pocket of dough that hides a molten core of cheese, sauce, and betrayal. It's the lunch of champions, the fuel of the front office, and the only food item capable of making George Steinbrenner talk about trading Derek Jeter for a bag of sunflower seeds. But eating a calzone isn't just a meal. It's a social contract. It's a high-stakes game of the tip jar. You're standing there at Paisano's, you got your dollar ready to wait for the precise moment the counter guy looks up so you can witness your generosity. And then he sneezes. He misses it. Now you're stuck in the loop. Do you take a dollar out and put it in? No, you're a thief. You're a pariah. You're banned from the best eggplant in the city. Now you're desperate. You're hiring a mailman who won't work in the rain to be your calzone mule. You're smuggling bags into Yankee Stadium like you're transporting illegal blueprints. Why? because that combination of ricotta and pepperoni is worth the risk of a federal investigation. It's the smell of success, people. It's the smell of a man who's going places, or at least a man who's going to be asked to big league it in the owner's office until he's sick to his stomach. So don't just order a sandwich, order a legacy. Make sure you have someone watching when you drop that buck in the tip jar. Visit paisanowithpockets.com and use code TINKER for a free side of marinara and a 20-minute lecture on team chemistry. That's paisanowithpockets.com, code TINKER. The calzone. It's what's on the inside that counts. And what's on the inside is very, very hot. Back to the pun.
Man, I'm hungry.
That was a good one.
I love a calzone, but I can't get myself to order them.
Well, I'll do it every couple months. I'll throw one in there.
Like, what's the occasion that you order it? Like, your family's getting pizza and you're like, throw a calzone in. Or are you like on your own? You're
No,
craving pizza, but you don't want a whole pizza, so you get a calzone.
it's when you want to do absolutely, absolutely nothing for the evening. When you physically can't get yourself to stand up.
What kind of beverage would you pair with a calzone? Is it more of a wine pairing or a beer pairing?
No, like a really, really big beer. It really settles the stomach. Preferably
Uh,
something in a liter size that's warm by the end.
Unbelievable. Well, it sounds like we just made plans for tomorrow night, you and I.
They're so good, but there's so much cheese in them. Not that that's a bad thing.
Should we move on to Gameweek 36?
Yeah, I suppose we should.
Just give me a time check because my counter is off now because I
We were at
got booted and
48
back.
minutes, so we got
Oh, we'll be done in 15 minutes, I bet.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So game week 36 deadline. Can't believe I'm saying that. Is this Saturday. So no Friday fixture for a change. Saturday, May 9th at 6 a.m. So you got a little bit of time between when this up drops and when the deadline hits to make your changes. Should we go through this late?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So Saturday, May 9th, kicking off the early game. We've got Liverpool hosting Chelsea. On paper, should be a good matchup. I think we probably know how this one's going to go. But
Agree.
yeah. Otherwise, we've got 3 fixtures in the 10 a.m. slots. We got Brighton hosting Wolves, Fulham hosting Bournemouth, and Sunderland hosting Man United. Potential second place finishing Man United. Who would have thought? Before the 12:30 fixture, rounding out the day, Man City hosting Brentford. Jimbo, what stands out to you on Saturday, May 9th?
I think the interesting one here is probably Bournemouth Fulham, because like you were saying that Bournemouth are right on the edge there, and they could get some help and get themselves in the or get some help to get bumped into Champions League. But if they just win out, they're on the edge of glory. And the way they've been playing with Senesi and Kripke Jr. lately, they're hot. Even Tavernier's coming out of the depths to chip in. So I think from a FPL perspective, I'd like them for a clean sheet again here. Fulham haven't been great, but yeah, I'd back Bournemouth.
Do you trust Brighton at all for a clean sheet against Wolves?
Probably, but I wouldn't bring in a Brighton defender. I'm happy that I have Welbeck for the matchup, but I feel like Van Heck is like their best one, but like you're not going to bring him in for this week, are you?
Well, let's see. So Brighton have Wolves this week, Leeds next week, and then United to wrap up the season. So I'd say 2 out of the 3 fixtures are kind of nice.
Yeah, I guess it depends on if you're looking for a differential. He would be a good one if you're looking to get it in.
Let the record show, Jim has indicated Van Heck as a nice differential.
Mark him down.
Are you at all concerned starting Thiago against City? Would you consider benching him?
I would, because he's only scoring on penalties. Although, I mean, they've been leaking the back. Wouldn't be surprised if Brentford score, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like if you have him, your team is focused around having 3 forwards. He's one of your 2 cheap forwards. Might be, if you do have him, you might be kind of forced to start him unless you've saved a lot of money elsewhere. But I wouldn't bench him unless you had a really good replacement.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been that conversation all season, honestly. Like, it's Holland, it's Thiago, and then, I don't know, it's kind of just, maybe that's it.
Got Pedro at times, Bowen at times, but that's kind of it, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Saturday should be loads of fun.
Yeah.
Probably not. Moving on to Sunday. So we're here on Sunday. We got to celebrate the mothers, but there's still soccer to be played. So
They
maybe
would've
make them breakfast in bed, a turkey, a box of wine, lots of tryptophan, and maybe you'll get to watch the rest of the fixtures. So Burnley hosting
Stay in
Villa at
bed till
9
breakfast
a.m.
is done at 11.
Please, please take a nap, even though you
Yeah,
just woke up. Sometimes a good nap is the only thing that gets you out of bed.
it's true.
Burnley hosting Villa at 9, Palace hosting Everton at 9, and Forest hosting Newcastle at 9, before we have West Ham hosting Arsenal at 11:30. So I kind of alluded to that fixture earlier, as kind of being tearing at my heartstrings. But what stands out to you on Sunday, Jimbo?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I agree. That's the big one. Arsenal have all the pressure in the world on them. 5 points clear, minus a game in hand, going to the Champions League final. But they've looked good. I mean, Saka scored midweek again. He scored last week with an assist. Gyökeres has been in the mix. So I think it's a lot of pressure on them. And for once, it's their offense that's scoring and not their defensive assets there. So that'll be an interesting one. I would say if you have Arsenal defenders, would you sell them? I probably would. I feel like their ownership has gone down lately, but if
So
you have,
they've got West Ham this week, and then they've got Burnley next week and Palace to end the season. I don't know if
nah,
I don't know if I would sell them.
I wouldn't bring them in. Let me say that. I wouldn't load up on Arsenal defenders. At this point, I would bring in Gyökeres or Saka.
So if you're wild carding right now, I'm just thinking, like, what is the template for a wild card in game week 36? Is there a template?
Well, it's tricky because you got the double game week out of
So let's assume 3 City, because I think you have to.
probably
Otherwise,
three
you're
Arsenal because they're going to be playing their best players and need to score.
yeah. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Yeah, good thing we don't have to do that.
Thank God. Anything else on Sunday?
I think Forest will be an interesting one. They've been on a tear. Then Gibbs White gets completely knocked out. His skull's out. They get stomped today, but technically they're not out of it yet. So it'll be an interesting one. They're going up against a battered Newcastle without Gordon, presumably again. So we'll see. We'll see if their hot streak continues, but that could have some implications here. If West Ham and Spurs both win and they lose, it's still tight.
What is Gibbs White out for?
I don't know. I feel like they would just put one of those masks on him. No,
I don't know. I feel like he's got to be out like at least a couple months.
no months.
You don't think so? Well, I mean, why not? I mean, I guess they could always reclose the stitch, but
No, they just like super glue those things, don't they?
that was a terrifying image. Sometimes I'm not happy that like Twitter exists.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anywho, that leaves us with a Monday fixture for Spurs hosting Leeds, which is usually reserved for United, but I guess they're letting us borrow it this week. And then I guess just for the sake of conversation, we've got that City Palace fixture that's finally been rescheduled. They're going to be playing that on Wednesday. So City and Palace will double this game week. Thoughts on these two games?
Load up on City here. I think Holland is kind of a no brainer. He was on the score sheet last week. You're gonna want him. Probably the highest captaincy there. But I kind of like Turkey as well. I want to say Turkey
Mm.
a better option than Semenyo as a second City player. And then I know a
Eh?
lot of people probably have O'Reilly or maybe Vardiol or Nori, probably not. So I would assume that the template there is defender, midfielder, Holland.
Interesting you say Turkey over Doku. Doku's been in good form.
Joku has he apart from last week though? I feel like apart from that, he's kind of been the same as Turkey. He had 6 points against Burnley. He had an assist. And he had 8 points against Chelsea. He had a goal, but that's game week
I
32,
think of
3, and then he had 15 points last week.
Yeah. I think of Doku as more of a dynamic goal threat, whereas I think of Turkey very skilled with the ball, very creative with the ball, likely to have an assist.
Yeah,
Maybe, I mean, is it a conversation of funds? Like, probably not at this point in the season.
Turkey's been more consistent though. He had
Yeah.
5, 10, 3, 10, 1, 5, 3. Where Doku's been less so. He had 15 points last week, so obviously it skews things. Prior to week 32, he didn't have more than 1 point since week 21. So he had a terrible stretch between 22 and
Was
33.
that, yeah, but like, how many games was he playing?
Well, he didn't play. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, I think I would think of it more of like when he plays, what is his output?
Okay, but with 3 games left, what if he doesn't play?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
I'd rather have somebody that is going to play 90.
fair, fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
At this point, it comes down to your team and what you're trying to who you're trying to jump up and
right, right, exactly, exactly. Are you are you
versus.
looking at any Palace players? I mean, they're on a double.
I have Canvo, so I'll probably keep him,
That's right.
but I don't know. I don't love either
Yeah.
their fixtures for clean sheets.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about if you're on a wild card this week, what would that template be? I mean, 3 City players. I think even if this contradicts what I said, I think I would still go 3 Villa players. That Burnley fixture is just too good to pass up.
Yeah, but who would you bring in? Cash.
Probably Cash.
Watkins might not start.
I'd probably bring in Morgan Rogers. I know he's been cold, but I think I'd still bring him in for the threat. I'd have to get back to you on the third one.
Probably Martinez.
I was gonna say it could be Emmy.
Yeah, I like that.
I don't know if I love the double up, but it is Burnley.
Yeah,
So that's 3 City,
guess
3
you
Villa, and then I think at that point, I probably would just grab the double Palace because, like, the Everton fixture isn't awful.
could put 3 in without their best midfielder and their starting striker contributing.
Yeah, I mean, they put 2, to be fair. He gave him 1.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Still
true.
counts, still counts, still counts the same. I don't know, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision this week.
Yeah, but
I
I'd
mean, we
probably
kind
put
of
some players in there too if you're going wild card.
yeah.
I'd probably go
Yeah,
young.
that's true. That is true, that is true. I think it'd
Young.
be yeah, I think it's that front line.
That's an
Yeah.
expensive squad.
Yeah, but for a couple game weeks, like, if you're not I guess if you're not using your bench boost, what do you care? You only need 11 players
Yeah,
for the rest of the go. You know, that's where it's tricky for me because I still have to use my bench boost and my triple captain. I have to use my triple captain on a double game week. So that means I'm going to probably be bench boosting in 37 or 38. I don't know which one I prefer yet. It might end up being 38 because I'll only have one free transfer this week if I bank it. When I bank it again in 37, that'll give me 2 to make in 38. I've got Croupy Jr. on my bench, so I really only need to make 2 transfers to get like a full squad. So that's probably my plan. I think that makes sense on paper. I mean, captaincy picks for this week, I don't even know if there's really a conversation. I mean, there's literally 2 teams that are doubling.
gotta pick one of them.
What world would you not just captain Holland if you have him?
Unless you're, like, really going for a differential and you wanna choose Doku or Turkey or Semenyo, that would be the only
Risky, risky.
dairy.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, pick Holland. Don't overthink this one. For our captain's picks, Jimbo, you have the honor of picking first. Who are you picking?
Boy, I mean, I have to. I go Holland.
That is your right. That is your inalienable right. I am going to go with Doku. I think he's hot.
I
I
like
think
it.
he's hot. I think he's hot.
I like it. I like it.
Sorry, I think he's playing well. All right.
Both can be true.
Let's ignore differentials, I think, for right now. I just think that, like, at
We
this
had one.
point in the
Van Heck.
season, Van Heck, yeah, well, that's true. We
Advantage
already
cash.
talked about him. Well, I just mean we don't have, like, the numbers in front of us to,
Yeah.
who's pure, by that definition. But I think this is one of those game weeks. If you have your chips, you got to use them before the end of the season. So if you have a wild card, use it. If you have a triple captain, use it. Don't overthink it. Right? There's two. There's two teams that are doubling. Try to target them if you've got the chips. Plain and simple. Not really a differential kind of week. You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, so that kind of brings us to the end here, just taking a quick look at price changes. And so interestingly enough, Tyrick Mitchell is on track. I actually don't think there's really anybody on track to rise, which is interesting. Excuse me. In the next couple of days, I'd say Mitchell, Verbruggen, Doku, O'Reilly. They're all projected, at least 2 days out. So post deadline at this point before they would rise. Really more so this week is about the fallers. So if you still have Mbomo in your squad, if you still have Bowen or Tijani Reinders, Cole Palmer, they're on track to drop before the deadline. So you might not be looking to make any moves this week if you already used your wild card last week. But if you are planning on making a move next week and you need those funds, maybe it makes sense to make the move this week just so you don't see that drop. Who knows? Any other drops here? Oh, yeah. Mudryk.
Yeah, Mudryk, he finally got announced he's officially banned, so he's dropping.
It's dropping.
Yeah.
Do a quick squad select or what?
Our own squads? Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking at that. So I have I have 7.5 in the bank,
Shorty will buy me a drink.
which is pretty good because I got stuck with Salah after I wild carded. So, yeah, 7.5 in the bank. I'm thinking of doing Beto to Gyökeres against West Ham. I kind of love that, but then I have 3.6 in the bank, so I could take a hit and bring out Gordon for Saka or
Ooh.
Upgrade Lafie to somebody. But I don't
These
really
are
want.
all without taking hits. These are
No,
just free
I only have
transfers.
one free. I have one free transfer, so I think I'm gonna definitely do upgrade Beto to Gyökeres.
Can you bring in Strand Larson, who's on a double?
Yeah, I have 7.5 million. But
Are
then,
you interested in that? Because at least that kind of offsets the hit.
yeah, but then I
I
would.
just planted that seed. I just planted my seed inside you.
But I want Gyökeres in. I don't. I would have to do a double. I could bring him in for Welbeck, and then have Strand Larson, Holland, Gyökeres.
Danny boy, little boy, pretty boy, I need you.
I'm probably not gonna do that. I
Okay,
could get. I
okay,
could get.
but
I could get Saka in for Gordon.
that I think is a no-brainer.
Gyökeres and Saka for Gordon and Beto.
Or do you bring in Doku or Semenyo?
Well, I already have Cherky, O'Reilly, and Holland, so I'd be taking a hit to swap, and I don't like
Okay,
that.
that I wouldn't do. No, that feels like
I made my
over-engineering.
Turkey pick 3 weeks ago, and I'm kinda stuck in it now.
You made your bed, and you gotta lay in it.
Unless I do a 3 and I drop O'Reilly for an Arsenal defender and then, like, Gordon to no, but then that's no, that's too many hits.
Too many hits. Too many hits.
So, yeah, definitely gonna go Gyökeres, and then I have 3.6 to upgrade somebody else in my midfield. Probably gonna be Saka.
I think I like the Saka play. He's been in good form. They don't have Europe to worry about this week any longer. They need to win. They need their star boy.
And they have West Ham, then Burnley. So it's like they're
Right. The run is
those 2 are
there
gonna
for you.
start these next 2 games. I'm gonna do it right
You
now.
can book it. Right, booking now.
I'm gonna do it right now.
Booking that.
And I have the triple captain on Holland, so
That's Fire Flame.
Fire Flame.
Yeah. Like Waka Flocka. I don't know. I think that's what the kids say. I could be wrong. Don't know.
I don't know. Alright, what about you?
Oh boy. All right. So I've got one free transfer in the bank. I'm already committed to triple captain on Holland. I already have the chip activated. I don't love my squad this week. I really don't. I've got Kelleher in the back. I got a back four of O'Reilly on the double, Virgil, Van Dyke, Gabriel, and Hill in the back line. So I don't like my keeper playing against City. And I don't love, I actually, do, I think I actually like Van Dyke playing against Chelsea now that I say it out loud. It's really just, would I rather start Dubravka, Burnley keeper, against Villa?
Yes.
I think, I don't know, but
I think so because Villa just scored 4. They might be coasting. It might be an ugly, even if Burnley lose, it'll be like a 1-0. He'll get some save points.
I think that's fair. Like banking on Kelleher to get save points because City are going to be taking shots. Like, yes, he might save 6 shots, but if he lets 2 in, I think I like your train of thought there. Villa might not be as pressing, or they're using it as a tune-up. I don't know, but I'm not looking to bring in a new keeper for this week. Let me put it that way. Midfield, so I've got 3. I got Bruno Fernandes, got my vice captaincy on him. I got Semenyo and Gravenberch, the 2 Liverpool players. And then a front line of Thiago, who's playing against City, Holland with the triple captain band, and then Krupi Jr. playing against Fulham. My bench right now, I mentioned, so Kelleher would be on the bench if I start Dubravka. I've got Palmer, Stock, and Esteve. It feels criminal to leave Cole Palmer on the bench.
You have to drop him. You have to bring somebody better in.
Well,
You can get anybody for that cost.
that's the challenge. So Chelsea this week, they're obviously playing Liverpool. They play Spurs in 37 before they play Sunderland in 38. So what I'm really looking to do so I can maximize my chip strategy is have as strong of a squad as I can for 38. So I'll have 2 free if I roll this week, I'll have 2 free transfers going into 37, and I would have 3 going into 38. So this would allow me to basically pick my keeper and then pick my 2 other bench players if I don't drop them this week.
I think you're overthinking the importance of the bench boost. You're gonna hold Palmer for this. You want Palmer against Liverpool and Spurs?
No, I don't. Well, maybe against Spurs, but
Why wouldn't you drop him for Saka? For the same reasons you just told me to sign him.
I don't have any money in the bank. Can I do that?
Palmer's 10.5.
Palmer's
Saka's
10-4.
Saka's
Saka
9-9.
out right now? 9-9, Brooklyn. Okay. You might have convinced me. Is Saka? He's like very clearly off pens at this point, correct?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. You may have talked me into that.
It just seems criminal to leave that much money on your bench.
I think I'd still go 4-3-3 though. I think I would just start Saka over Gravenberg and then put Gravenberg to the bench. Yeah. Okay. I think you're on that. You're so smart. You're just so good at FPL.
I just have so many opinions.
Lord Tink is not making any changes again, so he's got the same team that we just talked about. His bench is Ekatike. It's a bunch of red flag players, so there's not even any sub opportunities for him. They're just lazy.
Maybe next year. We'll have Claude do it.
Okay, that's a good idea. Maybe we have one league that is just different AI agents, and we pit them against each other.
That would be fun. Not really, but we should do it.
It would be interesting, but fun. We'll see about that.
Yeah.
Jimbo, anything else? We're at the final whistle here.
3 more game weeks.
So just so everyone's aware, because I don't want people to get worried. I feel like there's people that worry about when we're not posting where we are. We do not anticipate having an episode for Game Week 36 recap and 37 preview. What did we say we were doing?
Yeah, no. Neither of those.
Okay. So the next time we're back will be a 37 recap and a
38.
38 preview. Wowza.
The league could be done by then, but FPL is never done.
FPL's never done. You got to jockey for that position. Okay, so that's good to know. We'll have a little hiatus. Jim, you care to tell anyone what you're up to? You getting another sex change
I'm going to volunteer. Yeah, there'll be volunteering.
for a sex change?
Shut the fuck up.
Oh boy. Well, we wish you the best. If you're worried about Jim at all, drop us a comment. Again, as always, go like, subscribe, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Drop us a comment. What are you guys doing with your chip strategy? Did you miss us? What did you do in the time off? What are you going to do in the planned time off? We're giving you a heads up this time. We want to know. We want to know what you're up to. If you're even listening, is there anyone out there? It's still not too late to join our mini league. As always, I will drop the code in the description. And thank you for joining us on Tinker Time. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and drop your captain pick in the comments. We'll see you next game week.
Draft dreams rise like morning sun, chasing points, the game's begun. Big decisions week by week, fantasy glory's what we seek. Pick your squad, the clock won't wait, captain choice will seal